Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli wa sallam ala habibina wa sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My sisters in Islam, how are you all? Inshallah ta'ala doing good and well. And started your day with your salah, Salat al-Fajr. So let's get started with our story today. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is born. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born in Shib Banu Hashim in Mecca. It was a Monday morning in spring, the 9th day of Rabiul Awwal. According to some sources, it was the 12th of Rabiul Awwal. 50 to 55 days after Abraha failed attack on the Kaaba. In Arabic, the word for elephant is fil, and hence the year came to be known as Am el-Fil. Am el-Fil means the year of the elephant. In the Georgian calendar, the date corresponds to April 22, 571 CE. While Amna was pregnant, she had a dream that a light was emitted from her lower body that illuminated the palaces of Syria. When she went into labor, Shifa bint Amr, the mother of Abdurrahman bin Auf, served as midwife. Abdul Muttalib received the news of his grandson's birth with joy. He took the newborn to the Kaaba and invoked Allah's blessing and gave thanks, believing his grandson would grow up to be highly praised. Abdul Muttalib named him Muhammad, which means he who is praised. In keeping with Arab tradition, he then shaved the baby's head and circumcised him on the 7th day. Afterwards, he invited his fellow Meccans to a big feast. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was first nursed by his mother and then by Umm Ayman, his father's slave, an Abyssinian, whose real name was Baraka. She embraced Islam and migrated to Medina, where she died 6 months after the Prophet's death. Foster brothers. Tawaba, the slave of Muhammad's uncle Abu Lahab, also nursed the infant at that time. Tawaba was also nursing her own child, Masruh, as well as Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib. Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib and Abu Salma bin Abdul Asad Makhzumi. Hence, these three men became foster brothers because they were nursed at the same breast in the care of Halima Sa'diyah. It was custom among the citizens of Mecca to put their newborns in the care of Bedouin women who would raise them for a couple of years in the desert. The Meccans believed that the unspoiled, rugged desert environment would make their children strong and hardy. Furthermore, an upbringing among the Bedouin ensured that the children would learn the purest from the Arabic language throughout Arabia. Abdul Muttalib was looking for one such Bedouin woman who would serve as a wet nurse and take his grandson to the desert. Some women from Banu Sa'd bin Bakr bin Hawazin came to Mecca to offer their service to local families. Abdul Muttalib asked each of them to take his grandson Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but all of them declined the offer when they were told the child's father was dead. They felt the family of a fatherless child would not be able to reward them handsomely. Halima bint Abu Duwayba had also come to Mecca that day. While all the other Bedouin women had found children to nurse, she was not so fortunate. She saw Abdul Muttalib with an infant in his arms and took pity to the child who had been rejected by the other women. She and her husband took the infant Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam back to the desert. Halima was happy she was not returning empty-handed. Halima and her husband Harith bin Abdul Uzza both belonged to the tribe of Sa'd bin Bakr bin Hawazin. Their children became the Prophet's foster brothers and sisters. Their names were Abdullah, Anisa, and Juhayma, who was better known as Shayma. Juhayma also nursed the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Halima's house is unexpectedly blessed. Halima and her husband found their lives changed the moment they took Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam home. They had traveled to Mecca on a frail she-ass that could barely keep up with their caravan. On the return journey, however, as Halima rode with the infant in her arms, the same animal moved so swiftly that it left the caravan behind. While Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed with Halima's family, the house overflowed with blessings. Halima herself narrated that she brought Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to her house during a drought. Her she-camel would not give a drop of milk. They were so poor. Halima's child would cry the whole night out of hunger. With the child so distraught, Halima and Harith found it hard to sleep at night because of hunger. Things changed, however, when Halima brought Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam home and placed him on her lap. Her breast overflowed with milk so that both Muhammad and her own child drank their fill to milk and fell fast asleep. When Harith went to the she-camel, he was amazed at what he saw. The she-camel's udders were full of milk and ready to overflow. It gave so much milk that Halima's family was able to sleep that night too full of their stomachs and a lovely sleep. Halima's household suddenly appeared to be untouched by the drought, although they lived in Deir Banu Sa'd, the most drought-stricken spot in the region. The family's goats would return from grazing with their stomachs full of grass and their udders bursting with milk. Husband and wife would milk their goats often, while others failed to get even a drop of milk. Halima's household continued to be blessed for the next 2 years, after which she weaned Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Although he grew up during a great drought, he had developed into a strong and healthy and beautiful child. Halima asked to keep Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam more longer. Every 6 months, Halima would take Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Mecca to be with his mother and other family members. She would then return with him to Dayar Banu Sa'd. After Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was weaned, it was time for him to go back to his family for good. When Halima took him back to his mother, she begged Amina to let her sleep the boy longer because he had brought her good fortune in their lives. She pleaded he would grow stronger and healthier in the desert, far away from the frequent epidemics that raged in Mecca. Amina consented and Halima returned home with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, happy at her extended good fortune. 2 years later, however, a strange event occurred that frightened Halima and her husband, prompting them to return Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to his family in Mecca. Hope, my sisters in Islam, you enjoyed the story today about our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he was born and how he was born and raised and nursed by the beloved nursing. It's a nursing nurse that, she's a wet nurse that used to, in those days, they used to, sort of newborn nurse children and babies each other. So, inshallah ta'ala, next part tomorrow. Until we meet again, take care. And please like, share, subscribe. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.